I hate reading this part of my life. This was not fun. However, there were some fun things going on, and I do tend to dwell on the positive. But we left off, the Delaware State News had just attacked me for conflict of interest. I went through a year of that in the newspapers every day. I mean, people would come up to me on the street, and, I mean, it was awful. And eventually, I knew I didn't belong in politics. And eventually, I knew I had to get out. But it was killing me, and it absolutely destroyed my business. So that's the only complaining I'm going to do. From now on, I'm just going to read the story through. I hate doing it, but we got to get through it. I'm still in strike one, and I left off with Sunday State News, and now I'm going to talk about a change-up. And now this is baseball talk. There's a change-up pace, okay? The story killed us. After months of negative stories, investigations, hearings, and whatnot, I was declared innocent by a unanimous vote in the House of Representatives. But that news, on the very last day of the session, never made it into the Delaware media. Not one stinking word. Later, as if to sort of even the score, and people knew they had me, sort of even the score, the State News decided to publish a very favorable huff and puff article spotlighting me and pointing out the actual assets of the thing I had discovered, called the National Retirement Plan. I was ruined politically. I knew it. I was ruined socially. I knew it. I was ruined economically. I knew that too, and I was ruined professionally, and I also knew that. I have carried it with me as well as I carry the good stuff. You got to take with the bad. But anyway, here was the headline. Even Opponents Like Him a Little, by Linda Dwyer, staff writer, Dateline, Wilmington. A nice, long, pretend to be fun, friendly, cover your ass article with me speaking candidly, bragging like hell why I don't give a shit what anyone says about me. As quoted, I'm the perfect Aquarian, fiercely independent, totally alone. The challenge is the thing for me. I enjoy the battle more than the winning, and I enjoy the causes and the campaigns. Others were quoted. Tom is almost fanatically loyal as a friend and expects the same loyalty from you. A political opponent that I ran against said, if I ever run again, I couldn't find a nicer guy to run against. He's completely ethical and upright. I couldn't say a word against him except he's a Republican. Linda, the writer, quoted, other persons who knew Tom were contacted for opinions, but words like terrific, great, and fantastic came up so often they had to be abandoned for lack of originality. These are Linda's words, not mine. Hell, I could brag better than that. But she wouldn't write what I really quoted, that the assholes who attacked me didn't understand the plan and were complete idiots, uninformed cretins, and intellectual morons. Do you think I was a bit heavy? I never mince words. I use words like punches and kicks in karate. Fast, furious, insulting, and degrading. I love watching people's faces when they hit. Words used by us warriors are considered blunt instruments and cause a visceral reaction when we use them, including a gasp. But we did have some fun in politics. Let me tell you about the overthrow of the House of Representatives. The favorable State News article appeared on the front page under a big smiling picture with my two favorite cohorts, two fellow Republican warriors, George Jarvis and Jack Kirk, part of the original parking lot gang of six, known as, across the state, the parking lot gang in Legislative Hall. Newspaper and radio hawks love to speculate about how the parking lot gang came together in the first place. They don't know, they never would, but I'm going to tell you the real story right now. Here's how. Wiley O. Clate, the state chairman, owned the commercial parking lots for parking in cars in the downtown city of Wilmington. He spent a political lifetime putting them together in his own wily way. On the other side, the Democrat state chairman, Henry Topel, did the exact same thing with businesses and motels, and in his own wily way, often said defensively, some call it politics, Others call it real estate. It's a well-known, humorous, kidding issue, if you like them. If not, they both got them through shady politics. So one fine day in my first term, the state went bankrupt. It went broke. It was called Black Monday. The governor called a joint House and Senate caucus, joined by the entire cadre of Republican leaders, including all the contributors. The Senate leader, Ren DuPont, eventually called for a loyalty vote. We had to raise our hands to show our loyalty to the raising of taxes to cover the bankruptcy of the state. When he called for the raising of hands, mine was the only one that didn't go up. In a flash, 5 others looked at me and dropped theirs as well. All the House members, without a spoken word, and all of a sudden there were 6 of us, and we became the rebellious gang, and we were born as a group. We didn't know it. Everybody raised their hand. We didn't do it. I stood there with my arms crossed. Democrat House members had a press conference at Henry's Motel parking lot. They started out with each one whining about Russ Peterson. He's too liberal. He's too idealistically committed. He's too ridiculous about free social programs and too willing to help the poor. They castigated Rush for overspending and for dismantling the commission system of government, the one where everybody's brother-in-law gets a job. And Russ wanted to put it in a cabinet form of government which limited the brother-in-law's jobs. That's what really pissed off the Delaware Democrats. And that was the subject of their entire bitching. They claimed upstate Republican House members were too liberal, that we all supported the governor blindly, especially the new young Turks in the legislature, because Russ helped so many of us be swept into office. They claimed we would go along with Russ. Anything he proposed, we would do. We loved him too much. We admired him too much. And we trusted him too much. Everything about Russ was too much. I think you hear a familiar ring here. It's actually going on today in politics. People don't like our president too much. The press conference got legs and generated other small stories and headlines, but mostly it got the attention of us 6 young Republican Turks. After closing down Legislative Hall one night, we Turks met across the street at the usual watering hole, and we traded complaints about the news stories. After a few, I said, "Fuck them all. Let's call our own press conference on one of Clay's parking lots." And everybody howled with laughter. So we did. It was a self-serving newshawks who created the name The Parking Lot. Not us, the parking lot gang. All we did was meet on one of Clay's parking lots, number 6. We declared we would refuse to raise taxes, and we further declared that in spite of the rebellious position, we were still supporting Governor Russ Peterson. A self-serving, establishment-leaning opinion writer attributed religion to our reason for rebelliousness and insisted that Catholic religion was the prime motive behind the gang's 6 rebellious plans. Another opinion writer speculated all 6 of us were working secretly for the bishop, totally ignoring the fact. None of us went to church. One was a 32nd Mason, and the other a fundamentalist Christian, what we now call today evangelism. And another member of the moral majority, and the remaining were Catholic only by coincidence that they happened to attend church. These self-serving writers missed the entire drama. This drama was formed solely as a single reaction to an attack on our own ideals. And then, after the immediate excitement that claimed we were organized Republican rebels, we liked the attention and the notoriety, and we decided, what the hell? If they think we're organized, we must be. Let's take over the House. An old Republican friend of the establishment was serving as the current House Speaker, a very friendly, waspy-type Protestant, nicknamed by us George III, King George III. He was very connected to the establishment, at least in image. To be fair, I tell you, he was friendly and he was fair to all of us. It wasn't personal, but he was a bit prissy, kind of like the kid who was put in charge of the class while sister ran an errand, and then would actually squeal on us, on the others that raised hell, when she was out of the classroom. So we didn't trust that he was really on our side, or one of us. Prior to my second term re-election campaign, it was widely anticipated the Delaware House would again be controlled by the same Republicans and keep the same Speaker in charge.